It's race night, baby. Welcome everybody to the Zoom Racing League. It's Saturday evening, and that means racing here at the Yas Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi. Yas Marina circuit is an absolutely great track at 3.28 miles. Exotic track with a top speed of 214 miles an hour. I am your host, John Ranger, and with me is Ethan Patel. Ethan, how are you this evening? Going to be looking at great battling between Mercedes and Red Bulls in the Constructors Championship. If we take a quick look before the qualifying gets underway here, we have already our drivers ready to go. They're all in the pits right now. If we go and look into the current standings, we're looking at Siggy over here with 137 points and OG with 134 points. So this was a great battle up front on the top two racers. Ludwig's not so far away with 126, so he can cause a surprise today. Who would be your driver tonight?
I have to go with Ludwig.
Ludwig has been putting in some consistent times and consistent laps lately. And who have we got here that would be our first? I see him in McLaren that just got an out.
Sorry, but that's a confirmed from data. Yeah, he's won the last 2 weeks actually. So if he wins this one, he could very much be in the lead for the championship.
Most definitely. So we have a great battling, and when we look at the rest of our standings here, we have followed by the Paz, Rivas, and Kushi. Leaf says as well, all positions that could definitely be moving up and down a lot during this race. So very eventful race coming up. But for now, we've got qualifying. And we're going to be looking at how they are setting up their cars for this qualifying. Note that although in the real life we have an updated circuit version of the Yas Marina, it has not been updated in the F1 2021 game as of yet. So
yeah, we still have that deadly chicane that could very much take some people out tonight.
Oh yeah. During practice this week, a lot of word has been spoken with the drivers about the curbs on this race. The cars having less downforce compared to last year, and the curbs could definitely be could cause damage to the cars. Could definitely cause a lot of battles. People going a little too far wide, and gotta be careful with those. Surprisingly, with the two long straights on this track, you have to run quite a high downforce and able to have a very strong sector 3 here.
Yep, so there's two sacrifices that can be made. You could sacrifice your straight line speed for that third sector, which could gain you so much time. Or you could try to just stick through it in the third sector, but get that straight line speed to defend from DRS. So, two different types of setups that could be ran here, and we'll see who does better with what setup.
Alright, so I'm here with Big Mama Frank, who's in the house over here. Let's take a look into how their lap is going on so far. Gonna go on the inside view here. So just went off on the first straightaway and just activated the DRS. Getting quite some high top speed with Mr. Sandunga, who seems to have retired in Sector 1 and's been already out. Don't know if there's been an incident over there.
That's that sweeping right or left right hander. That's so deadly on grip. If you lose the car even a little bit, you'll just slam into the wall.
Yes, it's left and right sector turns 2 and 3. Gotta be careful with those cars. That's what we're talking about. Having to have enough downforce to take it through that turn full speed.
Yeah, especially with this track not having as much grip as it can, it's going to be harder to get through those parts of the circuit.
Most definitely. We've got Axelized, who just put in the first time with a 136.9. Siggy followed behind with a 137.7, so a little over a second behind. Big Mama Frank just put in a lap, and it goes P4 with a 138.6. And Marino on the mediums, surprisingly, on a 137.8. Cryptid just put in a faster lap at a 135.8, and that would be a reference point for now as other drivers start to get in some lap times. And slowly we got qualifying unfolding over here. Looking at some the top drivers here, so, OG has not been on the track so far. We got a slow Haas. I think he's just passing everybody, letting everybody go by. Looks like somebody went off again, and after the sweeping turns, looks like it was a Mercedes. Yeah, looks like it was Ludwig who went off and went a little slow on the medium tires. Don't know if he was just letting people by. So far the time to still be beat is Cryptid's 135.8. Other races are putting in sometimes. We're generally in the 137s or the high 136. Dan Gouda just went P3, but 136.9.
And Cryptid is absolutely flying right now. It's whole second ahead of P2 right now.
Absolutely. Axel is going to have to do quite some work, and everybody else wanting to be up there with Cryptid is going to have to make quite a good lap. 135.8 is definitely a very respectable lap, especially in Division 3 here.
Yeah, so Cryptid was originally a D1 driver, and due to timing and stuff, he's dropped down to D3, but he'll definitely be on for a race win here.
Most definitely. He's not a driver to be taken lightly. That is absolutely true. To those watching, let's not forget to press the little like and subscribe buttons on the YouTube channel. We also have the Discord link in our descriptions. If you're eager to join an F1 Racing League on PC, Zoom Racing League has 3 divisions of racing. This is our first division of the weekend with Division 3. We have Division 2 at 8 p.m. tomorrow, December the 12th. And we've got Division 1 at 10 right after that. And let me tell you, Division 2 and Division 1 as well, just like Division 3, all 3 divisions, with all races very close to their skill levels, very much giving us some very respectable and very exciting racing. Every race. Last week we had a very eventful race in Saudi Arabia in the Jeddah circuit. Had quite a good experience. Myself and my good friend here, Ethan, we both race in Division 2.
Yeah, we're actually championship rivals right now.
Most definitely. We're buddies right now, but tomorrow will not be for very long. We're definitely going to change the way we speak to each other. Alright, I'm going to go on board here with OG, who's going out on his first fast lap over here. He just went on of his outlet. Let's go with him here. Got the sweeping turns over here. He's able to keep it tight, go as large as possible without going over the curbs too much and destabilizing the car. Now this first chicane, you really have to get a great rhythm to go through, and it's not easy to do that. Here he goes on the first DRS zone. He's going to reach a very high top speed. Going at around 320 kilometers an hour, that'll be what we're gonna have. Keeps it clean during the whole little chicane here. Here it goes, and tight section of sector 3 here with all those tight turns. This is where we're saying we need a high downforce and great setup to be able to carry the car through and keep the rhythm. It's very easy to destabilize the car through those curves here. Cryptid moving out of the way, respecting this driver behind him having a fast lap. And here he goes on the last corner, going through the start finish line. And OG will go P6 with a 137.5.
Right ahead of his championship rival Siggy in
Absolutely.
P7.
Those two guys, they're very close in the points, and it's not for no reason. So OG and P6, Sig in P7, I'm sure they're going to be looking to improve. This is the kind of track where if you could get pole position and run away with it, definitely want to be able to do that. And I think that's what Crypt is looking to do on this race.
Johannes is on his flying lap. He is able to get pole. He is just about Cryptid speed. So we'll see where he goes with this. As he goes purple through sector 1. He's just going to run into some traffic through sector 2.
Oh yeah.
Down the long straight into the hard braking zone.
Keeps it nice and tidy here. Look at him
Goes a
going wide.
little off track.
Yeah. He's really staying on the inside of that track. That's key to be able to gain some valuable time, and he's really using the entire width of that track.
Yeah, even with that going a little wide, he's still purple through the second sector. So he's purple in first and second. This could be provisional pole as he goes through the third sector.
And Crypto just improved on his time on a 135.5. Let's see how that might impact Ludwig's time as well. Ooh, just a little bit of slip
Ooh.
on the very last turn.
And that's worth about 2/10. That could have been his
Yep.
provisional pole lap. But he'll be able to go out once again. And
He was on pace for provisional pole, definitely. Encrypted increased, or decreased his time, I should say. Did a much better time, and Ludwig just a little behind Encrypted. So we've got two guys fighting around the 135.5s, and Ludwig with 135.7. Actualized with 136.6, so there's this 1 second gap. Starting at the top between the P2 and P3.
as you were saying that, the championship leader, Siggy, is actually just DNF'd out of qualifying in the last sector. This could be huge for the for Johannes and OG.
Can smell the blood when things like that happen here. So Siggy is out, and currently P9. He will not be able to improve. We're still looking for lap time for Mr. Sanduga. We're still looking for lap time on Raz, and we've got Flozy over here on that's on his up lap. He's just about to start on his fast lap. I'm gonna go on board with him here, see what he's able to give us on medium tires. Very curious to see what his strategies behind that. We're seeing a couple drivers going on the medium tires, and he goes off, and he is gone. Flozy just went too hard on the sweeping left-right corners, and he's into the wall. He donated his tire to a great fan across the wall, and that is done for him. So no lap time. Looks like he'll be starting P20. So currently our top 5 is Cryptid, Johannes Ludwig, Axelize, Dan Guda, and Mr. Friday. Even though we're qualifying and racing on Saturday, Mr. Friday here is taking and Big Mama Frank just took his P5. So Big Mama Frank is out there P5, Mr. Friday P6. Ian was out on medium tires, so we've got two drivers that tried to go on mediums. And there we go. So P7 currently for now. And Siggy, who's now dropped to P10. As you mentioned earlier, for Ludwig and for OG as well, who's been fighting in the points, OG is definitely gonna want to get out there soon and try to improve his time. Interestingly enough, Cryptid is going out of the pits. He's going on his out lap, so he's going to go for a one last final fast lap.
Yeah,
So-
if I'm cryptid, I'm saving my tires. I know I'm either P1 or P2, and this track has a very high tire deg. So if you could get a free set of softs for the race and potential safety car, I would keep those. We'll see how fast he could go.
Yeah, he probably wants to make sure has a faster fast lap time ahead of Ludwig. Maybe he wasn't satisfied with his lap time and he went for fresher tires now.
Ooh, SK Seb is another victim
DNF.
of that fast first sector.
Yep, we just see just saw Sargento go right by him. So that curve is actually taking out quite a number of drivers so far. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DNFs, and from what I remember, 4 of them at least, if not all 5, were during those corners. And for anybody who has practiced during this week, as I'm sure you've had as well, Ethan, and as I've had over the past couple of days, it's a tricky part. You can't push your car too fast. You got to make sure you have a nice rhythm to that track, because once those tires go and you lose your grip, it's instant, and there's no catching it.
You want to have very smooth steering. Little minor adjustments will actually just throw off your whole line, and you end up just spitting there. I've spun so many times this week and still do, so I need to get that fixed, just like these guys over here.
Definitely. We've got Cryptid, who's just gone on the purple sector in sector 1. He's off on the long double straights here in sector 2.
As Leaf says, just had a spin in sector 1 as well, but he had it going to the first chicane.
Definitely. That's first chicane also. Again, those curbs tend to destabilize the cars very much.
And I think Johannes was another victim to that corner, so even the fastest guys can't. Yep, he
Definitely,
was.
he just DNF'd. So Cryptid does not have to worry about his lap time being taken from Johannes. He's still going on for a faster lap time. He's a little bit slower in sector 2, but he still's got an opportunity to increase his best lap here as he goes into sector 3. I'm seeing a Haas that's parked in sector 3, or it looked like it was parked in sector 3. Was it Axelize that also DNF'd? We're seeing the top 3. We got 2 DNFs in the top 3. It's the end of qualifying, and people are pushing it, trying to get as much of a fast time as they can. And well, here's the results we have, and we have 3 drivers out so far who don't seem to have set a lap. I don't know if Raz will be going out a lap. We've got Cryptid just increase his lap just a little bit.
And those bottom 2 won't be able to set a lap. I believe Sunduga DNF'd at the beginning of the session, and I think Flossie did as well at some point. As the next person that crossed the line is going to be Kishi, who's in P13 right now, going to be trying to get that Red Bull to stay in P1 of the Constructors' Championship. Rounds the final corner, and he's going to go 11th fastest.
Yeah. Raz, who had not set a lap time during the entire race, he won during the entire qualifying. And at the very end, settled with a 1:37.1 in the Aston Martin P7. So that's where you see guys like Siggy, who's crashed out and is now pushed back all the way to P13. OG has not been able to do much of a faster time, so he's going off on P10. So our top 3 is Cryptid, Ludwig, and Axelized. Big Mama Frank's about to finish a lap time over here. Seems like it's been
Marino,
going
who had a little slide.
Yeah, we've got a lot of drivers pushing it over here. It is very easy in the Yas Marina circuit. It's a very big contrast to the last week's race. Last week's race was a very high pace, everything was just absolutely rapid in Jeddah. Very much of a rhythm track. Over here, we've got a sector 3 that's very technical. Push it too hard on those curbs, and that car is gone.
As qualifying is officially over as everyone's in the pits or has crossed the checkered flag. So Cryptid takes pole position here in Abu Dhabi, and he is 2/10 ahead of John is twos, and them two are a second ahead of third place Axelized.
All right, so we're just gonna let him finish up and wrap up on the qualifying. So we've got an interesting race coming up upon us. Weather check real quick over here was before the race starts. Seems it's gonna be very sunny and a very warm track all around the race. Maybe around the end we're gonna have a bit more of a cloudy temperature, and track temperatures are gonna be lowered a little bit. Might have an impact for those racing on the medium tires. So our race grid so far, we've got Cryptid, Johannes Ludwig on P2, Axelize on P3, my Big Mama Frank, Dan Gouda, Mr. Friday, Raz on P7, Ian and P8, Leaf says P9, OG and Kushi 10 and 11, Marino and Siggy 12 and 13. We've got Sargento 14, Slovene 15, Kesa, Bibri, Buffalo Trace 16, 17, 18. And to round out two drivers that have not made times, Mr. Sanduga and Flozy, who've got no times done, so they'll be starting P19 and P20.
Yeah, I wonder how their pace is around this track. We haven't got to see it, so could potentially get themselves up into the points, or into the higher paying points, as every position gives points.
Their objective will definitely be to gain as many positions as possible. Any first corner predictions for you, Ethan? Are we expecting Cryptid to run away with it? Is Ludwig going to be fighting it for the first couple corners? What do you think?
I think they'll definitely be fighting for it. I think one of them will get ahead and they'll just be fighting back and forth. But I think them two will be pulling away from the pack that follows them.
The double DRS zone is going to be critical. If somebody can run away from the pack, be a second away, it'll be the perfect timing. So here we go. The race is about to start. They are on their formation lap right now, so they're going to go around the whole track, warm up their tires, make sure they're all prepped up, maybe get a last sip of their drink, whatever their drink might be. Now I don't know if it's a desync issue or if it's... Yeah, it looks like Flozy also got disqualified. He was in P20, so, and he hasn't moved from the grid, so he's there on the grid for now.
Might have went away from his computer after that terrible qualifying. DNF'd, so maybe away from his computer and didn't realize the race was starting. So hopefully he gets there before the start, or else he's going to be disqualified from the race.
So as I was saying, the double, so what you really want to be able to do is run away from the pack as much as possible, and not have somebody with their on DRS timing behind you, because if that double DRS, when you have a long straight, a little chicane, and another long DRS, so that gives all the tools needed for somebody in, for example, Ludwig in P2, if he's able to keep up with Cryptid for the first 3 laps before the DRS gets activated, that'll give him all the opportunity he needs to be able to get past on P1. And that's where we're going to see most of our overtakes during this race, I believe. Heating up the tires will be absolutely critical. You don't have a very long straight before the first corner. And as we've seen in qualifying, a lot of drivers losing it on that sweeping on turn 2s and 3. You got to keep your tires warm and make sure they're warm enough to begin the race. So that might be an issue. We might see a couple drivers crash out there. A little bit of drama there, that's for sure.
I just got word from the Mercedes garage. Ian is actually a D1 driver who's racing in D3 right now. So Mercedes look to have a strong advantage in the constructors race right now.
Most definitely. I've raced Ian before, and he's a guy that's very difficult to keep up on his rear. And there you go, we got the grid getting set up. as everybody gets into place. And here we go. The lights are all lit. It's lights out, and away we go over here in Abu Dhabi. We've got Cryptid on a little bit of a slower start. We've got Ludwig who's coming up on his inside, and Cryptid's able to close the door and keep on going.
Oh, as we have some broken front wings in the back.
Wings are being broken in the rear. There's definitely contacts on being made.
Yeah, the Red Bull of KSEB has no front wing on him right now. He has to go through the whole lap before he can box. That's going to be critical in the constructors fight.
And that's going to be very, very painful. He's going to wish for a safety car during this race. And from what I'm noticing as well, we've got Flosy all the way in the back, who seems to have also taken maybe a little bit of minor damage or got out of the track. He's way behind KSEB as well.
As Dane Gooder tries to make a move down the inside on Ian, he gets there before the corner, so he's safely through.
Despite minor contacts, we're looking at a very clean start for this race. Despite it being a Division 3 doesn't mean these guys are not clean drivers. They're able to hold on their own, and they've proven it on this race so far. Looking at the race leader real quick, Cryptid is at a 0.7 advantage on Ludwig. Ludwig is really desperate on trying to keep up on him. He doesn't want to fall off further than a second behind. Within the first 3 laps, he wants to be able to keep on the DRS zones. That's a key strategy. Yeah,
but both Johannes and Cryptid are already a second and a half ahead of Big Mama Frank right behind him.
Yep, definitely.
As a Haas duo today are actually on it right now. They're actually 3 and 4.
I was just about to say that with a 3 and 4 on Haas, and I'll have to be very careful. I wonder what's the team orders on the Haas team, or is there any team orders? Will they eventually be fighting each other, or will they have to try to do some teamwork to gain as many points as possible? Because they're currently dead last in the constructors. This could be a redemption race for them. So we've got KSEB with some damage who went into the pits, and we've got Bibri also pitting, had to have a change of wing, and we've got an Aston Martin of Leaf Says who's out of the race. Lap 2 on the sweeping curves. Who would have known?
Yep, the deadliest part of the circuit by far. And it's already claimed 1 victim.
Most definitely. I think it caught Flosy off guard, and Flosy kind of went off track on that part. Rather surprised there's no safety car that was called. Often you get a DNF early like that. There's a safety car that's called, but it was probably behind the pack.
Yeah, he was in the clear. He was just able to move out of the way, and Leaf Says was off the track as well, and he was just in the wall. As Mr. Friday in the AlphaTauri actually overtakes the Haas of Axelize, and that Haas is around. As he comes onto the track unsafely, but he is ghosted, thankfully.
Came off the track, had to slide there, and he's dropped down to P9. He was P4 just a minute ago behind Big Mama Frank. And now we got Big Friday, and his tires are way heated up. He just spun out. And luckily he does so right in front of the pits. He's got to go change his wing.
And with DRS enabled, Cryptid is a second and 2/10 ahead of Johannes. So Johannes will not have DRS unless he can make up the 2/10.
Most definitely that's coming in, and we're looking at the intervals right now. He's on the cusp of getting on the 1 second. He's at a 0.96. Will he get DRS? He does not. He's going to be fighting. He's draining his battery, trying to get up with Cryptid. And it looks like he'll get DRS, I believe, on the sector, on the second DRS zone here. Looks like Ludwig has a lower rear downforce compared to Cryptid, because on the first DRS he was able to catch up to him, and Cryptid was draining his DRS battery as well. Cryptid's already at 25% on his DRS. He's got Ludwig right behind him with still 40-something percent. Or 54, should I say. Will Ludwig be aggressive and try to get him right away, or will he just be patient and let Cryptid give the spot to him? Cryptid's out! Cryptid just got into the wall. And that is done. It is over for Cryptid. He was just turning out, and he probably hit a curb or something, and his car ate the wall. Absolutely ate it.
As Ian is actually into the pits for a front wing change, and he's going on to the hard tires. I wonder what happened with him, but he's lost a ton of positions.
What an eventful race so far. Now we've got Leaf Sage, who's out. Cryptid, who was the race leader, who pushed it too hard. As I said earlier, did Ludwig get to him? And now we've got Ian, who changed his wing and went for the hard tires. Would you have gone for the hard tires as well, Ethan, in under circumstances?
I definitely would not have. I know he started on the medium tires, so he doesn't have, or he'd have to switch on to another set, but I'd still go on to another set of mediums or go onto the soft tire. The hards are just not the move.
The hards will definitely be able to carry on through the rest of the race. But given the current conditions and the way the race is going, if I were in the same position, I would have gone with mediums as well. Maybe even softs, hoping for a safety car to come in soon. We've already seen, we're only lap 4, we already got 2 cars that DNF'd, including the race leader. So if the race leader could DNF, there's nobody safe from that.
Yeah, just like Johannes DNF'd in qualifying. The fastest guys are not immune to DNFing.
Absolutely. You gotta be careful on this track. This track is very speedy, high speeds, and it has its third sector is very technical. And we saw Cryptid not get spun out in where we figured they would spin out, such as the turn 2s and 3s on the sweeping turns. But on the very last corner of the race, just before getting to the straight line, and that's where he lost it and hit the wall. So our new race leader is Ludwig, Johannes Ludwig. He's nearly 9 seconds ahead of Dan Gouda in P2 in the McLaren, who's currently chased by Big Mama Frank in the Haas. Big Mama, who takes it from Dan Gouda over here in P2 at the very end of the DRS straight. Great overtake, I must say. And we've got that McLaren wanting to get it back. And he does.
It's the other Haas around.
And the Haas goes off. I wonder if there was maybe slight contact or if it was just a spin-off.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact there with the McLaren. So now the Haas are 9 and 14 after being 3 and 4.
It's lap 5 out of 28. They could definitely redeem themselves from those moments. Not an easy moment, and especially when your car spins off and your tires gets heated up, you gotta be careful over the next couple corners, because your tires, once they're heated, they don't have grip, they overheat. And he's got a Williams all over him, and he's going to pit. So we've got Mr. Friday P7 that's pitting, and Big Mama Frank that's also pitting. Given how hard this track can be in regards to tires, we're looking for initially a 2 pit stop strategy. So most drivers who started on softs would go twice on mediums. Oh, and what has happened here?
10-second time penalty, and he's actually DNF from the race.
Oh. So we're getting penalties given. Kushio had a 10-second penalty, DNF from the race. And we've got Raz as well, who's just gotten a 5-second penalty for cutting a track. And he is missing a wing. He's also going to have to get back into the pits. And now we will have a safety car.
Which is interesting in terms of strategy. And I've got word from the Red Bull garage that Kishi actually had brake problems. His brake pedals actually got stuck, so the brakes failed, and he went straight through the first sector. As the Haas's collide for during the safety car, and I think they both got a 5-second time penalty.
My oh my, that is not the moment to be getting a penalty during these times right now.
Especially on your own teammate.
Especially on your own teammates. And we got Buffalo Trace with a drive-through penalty as well. It looked like he was speeding under the safety car. Didn't pick it up on the cameras here. So far we got... I was about to say Raz with a 5-second penalty, but what's happened here? He's off the race. He's DNF'd as well. Bibri with another drive-through penalty as well, speeding under safety car. So we got 2 drive-throughs for speeding under safety car, and we got both Haas's who's got 5 seconds for making contact under safety car conditions. Looks like Ian went into the pits, just as we had spoken about earlier. He had his hard tires on and decided, even under safety car, to pit in for medium tires, and he's dropped down to P13.
Yeah, but when you have his pace, you kind of opt for the better tire and just like try to stick with it because you know you'll be able to overtake a few people.
So under safety car conditions, it shuffled the order a little bit because some drivers went in to change their tires. So currently in P1, we've got Marino, we've got Siggy, who's the championship leader so far, in P2. Jonas is P3, Sargento is P4, Sluvine P5. So that is your top 5 behind the safety car. Who I believe will be, I don't know if it's going to be going in now or will it be doing another lap, given that the train behind isn't complete.
I think it'll do another lap, but Pelosi in the McLaren has actually been lap right now, so his race is essentially over. It's near impossible to unlap yourself.
Felsi looks like he's having quite a difficult race tonight. Just got past Raz, who's DNF'd a while ago, so he's far behind in a world of his own, it seems. Looking at considerable drivers to mention, so despite being under safety car conditions, we got Marino and Siggy, who's made up 11 positions each. Mr. Sanduga has made up 14 positions as well, who started all the way back.
So I think Siggy and Marino are thinking of one stop here because they decided not to pit under safety car, which if they were thinking to stop, you definitely pit under the safety car. So this is going to be interesting on how this shakes up.
Yep, this will be the last lap of the safety car, and the restart of this race will be an interesting one because when we're looking at it, we've got Marino and Siggy, as you mentioned, they have not pitted so far. So they got 7-lap olds mediums with Ludwig right behind him on fresh mediums. Sluvine also has not pitted, and Sanduga has got fresh mediums. So we got fresh mediums on P3 and P5. Those are the drivers who will be hungry and will be wanting to pounce up on their competition in front of him and get the race lead as quick as possible. So we'll see how that handles out.
Look at that, Mr. Sanduga, who actually DNF'd out of qualifying at the start of the session, is already up to P5 in the actual race.
P19, indeed. Yep, he's made 14 positions, starting P19. We're in lap 8 here, and he's already stopped. He's got fresh tires, and he is in P5. He's in a great position. This race is under his control. This is the best scenario he wanted.
Yeah, especially after abysmal qualifying, you just want to be able to get as many points as possible, and right now it looks like a potential podium for him. As I believe this is his first race in ZRL, as he's a reserve driver.
Definitely, and that's what's the D3 is fun for, is when we got some reserve drivers who are able to fill in some of the spots. We get to seek out some new talents, and Mr. Sanduga currently Knock on wood, I'm not looking to curse him in here, but he's definitely putting us on a good show right now.
I just believe it rounds the third sector and it should go in this lap.
We should get the statement soon about the safety car coming in.
Nope, it's gonna stay out another lap.
It is going to start another lap, and I do believe that is because we have one last car that needs to catch up on the rear. Could that be...
B. Brian, the
Yeah.
Williams.
Definitely B. Brian. The Williams is not caught up to the train, and we've got Sargento who's pitting as well in the other Williams.
Interesting strategy call. I wonder if he got wing damage.
No wing damage from Sargento. He just went for the softs. Is it because he changed his mind already? Was that his... Let's see if that was his first... We're looking at his second stop already, actually. Now, one thing I've noticed is Flosey in the McLaren is P16. He's just staying off track. I believe he's one, if not 2 laps off of the whole train here. He's 2 minutes 30 behind everybody. So on Maypole on his screen, he's on lap 6, and he's already put it in for the hards.
Yes, we're getting some tire wear info. Siggy's tires are actually, his front rights are on 40%, so he's definitely gonna be sliding a bit here. And I think this means he definitely is committed to a one stop.
And what's happened here? We've got Buffalo Trace. I think he just DNF'd under safety car. And OG's got a 5-second for a severe collision with Big Mama Frank as well. Looks like some guys are getting impatient over here. That's a long safety car. I think it's the longest safety car I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, normally everyone's caught up by lap 2 or 3, and still. Is it in this lap?
Now what is happening here? It is not going in this lap. Safety car is still there. And I'm wondering if this isn't caused by...
No, it is. This is a
It
restart.
just went in. Okay, it just went in. Alright, we didn't have the notification here saying that it was coming in. Marino just
Siggy
took
actually
off.
yields to Marino as he goes wide, and that's going to give Johannes all the room he needs to go through. But he still stays behind.
And we got Marino who's currently P1. Siggy and Jonas are fighting for P2 currently. And that's allowing Marino to have already taken a second lead up on the straight. So Sandunga, should I say, has also taken another position. It's now P4. As you mentioned, fresh tires, looking for a possible podium here. He's at the foot of the podium. He's looking to see if he could catch up to Ludwig and make that to happen.
Yeah, based on pit stops right now, he's actually in P2 as the front 2 runners have to pit.
Most definitely, Marino and Siggy are going to have to pit eventually. As you mentioned, their front tire is being quite warmed up, even though they're on mediums. I could understand why some guys going for hards and trying to see if those would work, but not quite sure it has the grip. And we're seeing Big Mama Frank tumbling down over here, and that looks like a spin-off.
Yeah, so this race went from great for Haas. They look like absolute rock stars at the beginning, and now they're P13 and 14, basically last. The only person they're ahead of is Flosey, who's actually lapped right now.
Yep, and Big Mama's got a lot of trouble keeping it on track. His tires are lit up completely. We've got B-Bry and Axelized went in the pits as well, so I'm wondering if there's been contacts with the other Haas over there. So as you said, Haas went from rock stars to
Siggy's
no
tumbling
star.
down the order as well. He's in P5 now.
Would you look at that? Siggy must have had a moment, must have had a slide. It's 10 lap old tires. Trying to push it for
As
a one stop
Johannes
strategy.
Johannes makes the move on Marino and pushing himself up into P1 again.
And this is gonna be interesting because Marino's going on a late braking and he's getting on. He's gonna about to go get him as well.
But there's 2 long straights here, so
And
this
out of
Axelized.
he's left the session.
He's
I
at
wonder if he's
connection
disconnected.
issues.
Yeah, it could be disconnection. Yeah. And Marino's taking his position back. So on the lead, Marino, Ludwig fighting for position. And while they're fighting, it allows everybody to catch up because we've got Sandunga and Mr. Friday, as well as Siggy, who's not so far behind. Even Dan Gudas want to have a sniff at it. So we got a top 6 who's relatively close by with each other. Anything could happen between these 6 drivers. We do know that Marino's got a pit, as well as Siggy. The rest of them, we're talking about 3-lap old tires.
I believe the McLaren of Dan Good has a little look up the outside of Siggy, but thinks better of it and goes wide.
Goes right, and
As Siggy
Siggy's
goes
in
into
the
the
pits.
pits.
Absolutely, goes in the pits just as the DRS is enabled. And Marino's going to be looking to do the same probably by the end of this lap, I believe.
Slovene, Siggy's teammate is actually just DNF, and Siggy goes onto the hard compound tires.
That was a one-stopper with 1 mediums and 1 hard tires. It's a very interesting strategy to see how that could pay out with possible safety cars. We're seeing a lot of drivers being out of the race now, as Slovene is the last victim to slide out at the very last corner of the race on turn number 16, and he is done. And I think some of the drivers going on the soft tires are noticing a lot of high pace on the soft tires, but they don't last very long. Is it really worth it going into soft tires?
I think it is based on strategy. If you're going on the 2 soft tires and then a medium tire, it could very much work. As you need the pace that the soft tires provide.
And now who do we have here in P2? It is Mr. Sandunga. And he's taken over on Marino, and Marino's going to have to go in the pits at the end of this lap, I would assume, or the next lap afterwards. His tires are not holding him up. And now Ludwig is ahead of by a second, keeping him out of the DRS zone. And that is where Ludwig wants to be.
It's going to be interesting on what Marino does. Does he decide to go on the hard tires like Siggy, or does he commit to a 2-stopper at this point? Or actually, he could go onto the mediums and still do a 1-stop. Actually, I don't think he can because he started on the medium tires. So yeah, he has to go into the soft tires. Soft or hard, so I think he might go into the hards if he wants that 1-stop. But he actually stays out another lap. So this is interesting. I think he's trying to push this stint long enough to where he could just go straight onto the soft tire.
That's going to be an interesting strategy for him. I really wonder if he's going to make that work. We've got Siggy, who was running a seemingly similar to strategy and went for the hard tires instead. Will Marino be able to push his medium tires to the brink and be able to finish the race on soft tires? And on soft tires with the increased pace versus tires that'll be dropping off for the most of the other drivers, it'll be a good opportunity for him to make up on it.
K-Seb loses a position on his hard tires to Sargento.
Ooh, him and K-Seb are definitely fighting it currently. Sargento and K-Seb, they're very close to each other. Or so they were, and Sargento maybe had a bit of a slip of the tires there because he's dropped back behind him a little bit. Or should I say K-Seb, sorry. Drop back. That's another thing with those hard tires. You go on through that long, at sector 2, the long DRS straight. You're going there at over 300 kilometers an hour. You got to brake really hard. But for that little chicane to get on the top speed on hard tires, it could get a little bit slippery. Jonas with a 138.5 posts the fastest lap of the race so far. So that would be an additional point if he completes the race with the fastest lap. And we got Flozy, who's donated another part of his wing to a gentle fan over there, who's gonna have to pit once again. A whole minute behind the train here. And in the pits he goes.
Yep, and Siggy's actually got the jump on him through the pits. But not by much, as Marino goes on to another set of the medium tires.
So Marino has finally stopped, and he's going for a second set of medium tires. So that means he's going to have to stop a second time. So 2 mediums and a soft to finish the race. Is that what we're expecting here?
Yeah, so if you're Siggy, you kind of just let him by, but you try to stay close to him. You don't want him to gain 20 seconds on you. Once he gains 20 seconds, then that's a pit window.
And there we go. We got Siggy over here, who's got the RS on Marino. So these two are going to be fighting it. Siggy's got 1 lap old hards, while Marino's got fresh mediums.
Yeah, the mediums are just so much faster than the hards. But it's a matter of keeping him within that pit window. Siggy seems to be doing quite well, only losing a 10th in that last sector. He's actually gaining. He's actually doing a great job of staying right on the gearbox of Marino.
Definitely. Take a look over here. One driver we haven't spoken about this race, Ian, who's a Division 1 driver. Currently right up on the gearbox of Mr. Friday and looking to gain on him on the first DRS straight. So he's been keeping it rather quiet so far, but here he goes, and he's going to put himself in a podium position for now, given that Mr. Friday has the DRS for the second straight. And how is that going to affect the race? Alright, sorry for the quiet moment. We're dealing with a very massive gust of winds over here on my end. Johannes, P1. It looks like he's quite further away from Sanduga over here on P2, with an interval of 6.5 seconds about. We still got Ian, who's chasing after Mr. Friday. Friday is really holding his own against a D1 driver. Similar tires, they're both working really hard to get into there. He's got Ian all over him. He's got to keep his composure to keep his position, and he does so far.
There's some carbon fiber on the front straight, or on the start-finish straight. Now Siggy already losing 2 seconds to Marino, so his choice of tire may come back to haunt him, as the 2-stop might just be faster.
Looking at the championship standings over here, so OG's got in a position to be P6 so far, but that penalty is gonna drop him to P7, so if I'm correct, if the race would end as it is. Might actually drop him to P8. He's got an 8-second penalty so far. Big Mama Frank with a 5-second penalty. Most of the other drivers who had penalties for now, well, currently they have DNF'd and have not ended the race. 14 drivers left. We've got about 11 laps to go. anything could still happen. It could be the whole race could be resetted, and all it needs is one car to slip, a little safety car, and things could be way different out here. We have Mr. Friday who went in for the pits now, coming out of the pits on medium tires. Cycling through the drivers here, we're just gonna see if we could find maybe a battle or two going on.
Siggy's actually right on the back of K-Sab. Both on the same
There you
compound of tires. Might be an easier fight for Siggy than the fight with Marino.
K-Sub's got 14 lap old hards. Siggy's got 10 laps down. He's got 4 lap old hards. So
Siggy has DRS.
and DRS. See how those drivers go.
Gonna go down the inside on this into the chicane. And I think Siggy was still behind him at the detection zone, so he might even get DRS on this.
It looks like K-Sub's got DRS, but he was a little bit further off. I think Siggy closed the door on him, and yeah, so that'll be Siggy's position here. I don't think K-Sub's gonna be able to catch up to him or keep up to him so much. He's got 14 lap old hards. I believe his purpose is to bring those laps home, those tires home as is, if there's nothing that changes dramatically during the race. And Mr. Friday, or was it Dan Gouda? Dan Gouda went into the pits. Fresh mediums as well for the McLaren. The only McLaren who's really competing with the other racers so far. Big Mama Frank gets another 3-second penalty here, cutting the track a little too often.
Injury.
And it looks like a car stopped in the beginning of, or that's sector 3.
That's the Williams,
It's the Williams of Debray.
Yeah.
Spun it. I wonder if he's got any damage on that vehicle.
Yeah, and he's just boxed for a fresh set of mediums. Yeah, he does. He's missing a full front wing, but he decides to.
Is he going with it anyways?
He decides to stay out. That's an interesting move. That might be a move of frustration. We've seen that before with drivers that are just frustrated and don't want to pit. But I do not think that is worth it.
No, he's definitely slowing down so much. Is he thinking he's going to do a lap or two extra and try to bring soft tires all the way till the end of this race? But even then, will soft tires last during 10 laps?
No, I think it's just a matter of him being in. Basically, he's in last place besides Folsey, and he might just be mad and thinking like this race doesn't mean anything. But finishing the race, that gives you points, so you don't want to be running around without a front wing.
Most definitely. You want to be able to pit and give yourself a chance. If you pit and who knows, the race leader or somebody up front crashes out and it's a full safety car, you're right back there in with the other racers, and you got fresh tires compared to most people who probably will be pitting in.
Yep. One of the most unpredictable sports.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So right now it's a Mercedes 1-2, and that's a dominating 1-2 as Johannes is almost 30 seconds ahead of the Ferrari of Mr. Sindunga, but he's done good in his own right as he's fought back from 19th place onto a podium position. And he will not have to stop again.
And Sandunga just came out of the pits with fresh mediums, so he's good for the rest of the race. He doesn't have any more pit stops to take. So far, we've got Ludwig and Ian on 11 lap old mediums. I'm wondering if they're going to be thinking about pitting it, or if they're going to stretch those tires out till the end. I believe they're going to have to pit anyways. I believe Ludwig has not changed from mediums. He's only got 1 stops, and he was on mediums before, so he has to stop for at least softs. Yeah,
but he'll definitely get the pit window. He's within the. I think he might have a few seconds on Sandunga, but it should be an easy overtake with new softs, and then his teammate Ian, who doesn't race in this division, will probably give team orders to Johannes.
And speaking of Ian, he's in the pits and just went for softs. He's got fresh softs on. He's coming out of the pits right now.
Yep, so he's actually going to be behind the Ferrari and I believe the AlphaTauri.
As the Ferrari comes out around the first corner, there you go. You see Ian that's right behind. So he's got Mr. Sandunga is going to definitely have an interesting mission here. Fighting off a Division 1 driver who's been replacing to fill in the gaps here with fresh
Rivas. Yeah, Rivas is actually out right now for Mercedes, so Ian is in. Yep, and he's right on the back of the Ferrari, and he's on fresh softs.
Fresh softs, DRS. He's got everything to go for him.
Now, this might even be a fastest lap attempt soon once he could clear the Ferrari.
We got K-Seb, who's also went on fresh softs. He was on hard, so curious to see if that going on softs for 8 laps will that allow him to gain positions from that P10.
I don't see it doing much right here, but we'll have to see. Remember, he actually got hit lap 1, so he actually had to pit, and that's why he went onto the hards.
And you know what, Mr. Sandunga is doing a great job. He's coming up behind. It looks like a Williams. Is that
Lap car, B-Bride.
Yeah, lap car should probably pull over and give him some space, even though they're ghosting, and he does. It was a little slowed both drivers down a little bit, but that was a bit more complicated on those complex corners. And we've got Sandunga and Ian right up against each other, giving us some great racing pace. I'm gonna go on board with Ian here. He's gonna make an attempt.
Coming out of the corner.
And he comes out of that corner. That's on the sweeping turns. That could be. And he takes it from the inside on Mr. Sandunga. And the Ferrari's going to have the DRS on the next straight. This ain't over, guys.
Yeah, but the amount of grip that Ian has, he's already 8, 9 tenths up.
It shows. It definitely shows the grip. And there he goes on the DRS. In a position like you're on there with the Ferrari, you want to be able to just catch up on the first DRS, get right behind Ian. Use the second DRS zone, so just get up behind him and take advantage of the second DRS zone. It looks like that's what he's going to be doing. He's been draining his ERS as he does so. Slowly catching up to Ian, but the lack of ERS, he had no ERS to be able to push him up in front. Ian still has like more than half his battery on and soft tires, so he's going to be able to start pulling away now.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like a Mercedes 1-2 right here. Two of the fastest drivers in the league on soft tires that will easily make it to the end.
Looking a little bit further back, we got Mr. Friday and Dan Gouda. Both on medium tires. 4-lap olds for Mr. Friday, 3-lap olds for Dan Gouda. Fighting for the P4 because we got Dan Gouda, who I believe is in DRS range or just on the cups of being in DRS range, to come up on Mr. Friday and fight for that position. Here he goes. Gouda's gonna go for it on the inside.
This Flossie, he's actually DNF, and that's caused a safety car. This could be huge.
There it is. Flossie's been way back in the race, multiple laps overtaken. Finally DNFs, causes a safety car, and what are we going to have till the end of the race? Now we've got Ludwig, who just got out of the pits. The timing for this pit stop was perfect. He's going to be starting off on the lead. Seems to be he's going to have his lead on 0 lap on fresh softs. He's right there.
Yeah, I don't think the two Mercedes will try to fight each other. Like I said, Ian is not in this division, so he's definitely going to give. Johannes definitely has priority in this situation. And I think
Absolutely.
they both know that, and Ian is not stupid. He knows that P2 is all he needs.
I'd have to check my calculations, but I do believe if the race was to end like this, with Ludwig on the lead like this, with Siggy on, if he remains P6, I'm expecting he might want to try to lap to pit in to get fresher tires. I believe Ludwig's going to overtake him and maybe even take the
So Siggy
race
is
lead
into the pits right now.
championship. There you go. So Siggy in the pits. I expect him to
Sim-
take softs as he does.
It's going to be critical that he gets ahead of Marino. And he's not going to. I think Marino's going to pass him.
And you know,
Yeah,
Marino, despite being a P7, he's driven fantastically this race so far. This safety car could be a redemption way for Marino to gain a couple positions. We got Dan Good on fresh softs as well. OG's on fresh softs. Also, K-Seb on 3-lap old softs, who might drop off towards the end of the race. We will see how those softs are going to go, because this safety car, hopefully it's not as long as the first safety car we had, but it might stay out there for 2 to 3 laps. And we're going to have quite the finish sprint until the finish line. This race, ladies and gents, is not over.
Yeah, I thought it was over. I thought it was clear and cut. Like, we knew what was happening. The safety car shakes the race up all the way. Anything could happen now.
And that goes back to what we were saying earlier, when sometimes things don't go your way, your wing breaks, or you contact, or you miss out on the curb and you spin out. Don't stop racing. Don't get angry. You got to keep your head down. You got to keep going, because moments like these, this race, as you said, was so unpredictable. Moments like these is what we race for. Anything could happen at any moment, and there's a possible shakeup of the grid that could happen till the end of the race here.
Yeah, if you're B-Bry right now, you have to be kicking yourself. You stayed out a whole lap with a broken front wing, meaning when you boxed, you got lapped. If he decided not to do that and went straight into the pits, he would have actually been on the back of the pack right now. But instead, he's lapped down and won't be able to unlap himself.
9-lap old medium tires over here. Another one that's probably kicking himself a little bit is OG. He's P2 in the championship with 134 points. Currently, his race isn't so bad. He's P10. Yeah, he wants to probably do a little bit better. But what's going to hurt him, we'll have to see how he got his penalties. But he's got a 3-second penalty currently. He had served a 5-second penalty earlier. That 3-second, having everybody gapped up really close, I don't think he's going to be able to have him enough time to gap 3 seconds ahead of the drivers he's going to overtake, if he's able to overtake any at all. Another driver who's been doing steady, who might actually gain quite a number of points in P4 in the championship, is Sargento. We haven't spoken about Sargento so far. And the Williams, and he's also got a Williams in front of him. Despite, I believe,
that's B-Bry who's actually a lap down.
B-Bry was a lap down. That's what I'm saying. So B-Bry being a lap down, probably is going to move away and give time for Sargento there to be able to overtake him and hopefully get some positions up. And who is this? We have a Haas as well. I believe that's Big Mama. Yeah, Haas is the Haas has not caught up with the safety car train. And do we have notification that a safety car is going in so far?
I would probably not go in this lap.
I believe we're going to have another lap of safety car here. Yep, given that Ludwig is sticking to the safety car instead of giving it space and letting it go in, I believe we're going to have another lap. Yep. So currently we started 20 drivers, a full grid. We're at lap 25 and we're down to 13 drivers. Flosey, which was the last one to DNF to cause the current safety car. We got Sluvine, who's also slid off and DNF'd. Buffalo Trace, Raz, Kershi, Cryptid, who at the moment where he slid off and ended his race was the race leader and was had just Ludwig behind him and was fighting for position, lost it and crashed out, and Luce's as well. Johannes Ludwig is your race leader currently in P1, followed by his teammate and reserve driver for Revis, Ian. So it's a 1-2 for Mercedes. We've got Mr. Sandunga, who's absolutely done a respectable race so far. He's going to have a challenging moment here where he, after this safety car comes out, he's got 5-lap old mediums. He's going to want to keep position as much as possible. He's got drivers behind him with fresh shafts. That could definitely change up the order a little bit. Mr. Friday, P4. Definitely got a respectable race as well for him. He's started P6 and is now P4. Dan Guda started P5, is still P5. So far, very much of a constant race. Fresh, soft. Maybe that will be give him the opportunity to go up on a position or two. So Gento the Paz, P6. Gained 8 positions so far in the race. Absolutely good race for him.
Safety car's in this lap.
And safety car is going to be going in on this lap. We're about to be getting back to racing. We have Siggy P8, who, despite crashing out during the qualifying and starting P13, he's gained 5 positions. What do we have here? Marino and Sargento both got 5-second penalties for collision during the safety car. It's not the first collision we've seen.
People getting to ANC, third sector, very slow sector, especially with people controlling the pace.
Gotta leave a space, as our infamous Fernando Alonso would say. Obviously not the same kind of conditions.
Dangita gets the collision with Bibrai.
And Bibrai was a lap down as well. And we're back to racing. Ludwig continues up on the lead. Ian's right behind him. So those drivers with those 5-second penalties, I'm curious to see how they're going to be reacting in regards to those collisions during the safety car. That could definitely affect races for other drivers behind them who do not have penalties.
So the two Mercs are already a second ahead of the Ferrari.
And you could tell Ian's going to just stay behind Ludwig so far. I do believe, as mentioned, team orders are being followed here. He's not looking to overtake him. He's not chasing him down. Doesn't even have his ERS on to take position. He's going to keep Mr. Sandunga at bay for Mr. Ludwig to run away with the race now.
It's a fine demonstration of good teamwork. Ian probably knows he has some sort of pace that can match Giannis, but he knows not to use it.
Most definitely, Siggy gained a position. He's now P7.
He's going to be trying to catch up to the back of Sargento on the old mediums. We'll see how well he could do at that, because P6 wouldn't be a bad result.
Still got 3 laps to go.
And Sargento and Danguda do have 5-second penalties. We don't know who's at fault or how the stewards will handle it, so if you're Siggy, you definitely don't want to take those penalties for granted, as Ian actually gets a 3-second time penalty.
That's for cutting track. Marino as well gets a 3-second.
So if you're Sandunga, do you try, even though it might seem impossible, do you try to just stay within the 3 seconds? He's already losing 3/10 through the first sector. These guys are just so fast.
Yep, Ian's got the pace, and if Ian wanted to push, knowing Ian, he's definitely able to keep away from that 3-second. But Mr. Sanduga definitely is going to have... He's going to be able to have P3 so far. Mr. Danguda actually just took P4 from Mr. Friday, chased him down with the soft tires.
Oh, Siggy's right on the back of Sargento.
Let's go on board here with Siggy, who's chasing down the Williams. That could be quite an important move for Siggy as well. Although there's penalties, you don't know if the drivers will be able to contest their penalties, have them removed. So try to win the position on track as much as possible. And we got Siggy on fresh softs. He's chasing down Sargento. He's right on his gearbox. He's gonna try an outside move here.
No, that move is so dangerous. You do not want to try that. You want to set it up for the first sector.
Yep. He's trying to go with the switcheroos, going on the inside here. Sargento's keeping his current position. And that's forced Siggy to go a little bit too far on the inside on the curb. And now he's got Big Mama Frank all over him. That one mistake could have cost him a position, and it has.
Yeah.
Big Mama Frank is now P7, just ahead of Siggy.
Yeah, so Siggy was just too fast there with his new tires. That he was getting too far ahead, and he was basically getting alongside the Williams through no fault of his own. His car was just too fast.
Absolutely. Got maybe a little impatient, just had to wait it out with Sargento. Got a little too aggressive, wanting to get by him, and now Big Mama Frank just got it.
As I believe the OG is actually spun, so that's painful for him as he was trying to fight for the top of the championship.
Has spun on the soft tires, indeed. That's gonna hurt. And we got Big Mama Frank, Sargento P6, Big Mama Frank P7, and Siggy P8. Siggy's gonna try everything to gain that position back. Maybe even 2 positions if he could get a good launch off that curve, and he does, and he's got full battery and DRS. He's chasing down Big Mama Frank. He's on the outside turn, and he's also getting Sargento. He's got to go off on the curbs, and he's going in top speed on that corner. And out he goes. Siggy comes out P6, Big Mama Frank P7, and Sargento is the one that lost both turns.
Big Mama Frank tried to keep his position, but he hit into the side pod of Siggy. That move wasn't too clean, but Siggy was able to get around him, so Siggy's all good. He shouldn't have damage.
Looks like he's a good Big Mama Frank. An aggressive driver, tried to keep position as much as possible, gave it everything during that race. And here we go. We have Johannes Ludwig, officially race winner. P1 for him. Teammate Ian P2. Mr. Sandunga, quite a race tonight. P3. That is our podium sitters tonight. Mr. Friday finished the races on P4. Dan Guda P5. Siggy with an extraordinary ending to the race. P6. Axelize P7. We're going to have the rest in just a moment, as everything is confirmed here. Quite an exciting race tonight. D3 does not mean slow, it means exciting.
Yeah, what an amazing race. That leg safety car threw everything off. But the 2 Mercedes prevail as Johannes takes home his 3rd victory in a row. 3 victories on the season, all within the last 3 weeks. Truly a dominating performance from him, as this actually puts him into the lead of the championship.
Alright, we're going to be setting up for the interviews in just a moment. We're going to have to see, we're going to be able to hear his feel about this race.
Johannes also set the fastest lap, so he's going to take home the full 36 points from the race today.
Absolutely, fastest lap with a 1:37.308. Great lap there, just about 1/10 ahead of Ian. So Axelize was P7, Sargento finished P8, K7 9th. Big Mama Frank with the last minute spin dropped, started on the grid on P4 and dropped to P10. OG P11, Marino P12, B Bright P13. The rest of the drivers all have DNF'd. So we're going to look over here. We're going to be looking to get our interviewers here. Now let's see. So we have Ian. We're going to have Ludwig and Mr. Sandunga.
get something that I don't know if
Yeah.
I believe this was his first race. I don't know
Yeah.
if he actually does interviews.
I'm gonna see if we're able to get him an interview. Worst case scenario, we do have Ludwig who's waiting as well. Well, there you go. We should have a notification from him very soon. Alright, so he's answered. He's gonna be coming in just a second. Alright, and
Okay.
Mr. Sandunga,
Yo,
first
what up,
race in Division 3. You started P19 and you're finishing on the podium in P3. How are you feeling today?
oh man, I'm ecstatic. Feeling really good. Yeah, unluckily on my outlap, I changed a few settings on the anti-roll bar, and unfortunately I gave it too much power on the exit of turn one, and I ended up crashing. So yeah, I couldn't that time. I was really bummed about that. But then in the race, I saw that like I thought everybody on the back was gonna go mediums, so I went soft. So that helped me like gain a lot of positions. And then I think it was the first safety car gave me a chance to pit. So I put on the mediums, and then after that it was I had a battle with Ian from Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously I figured out he was way quicker than me. So by the time I saw he got the penalty, I tried to drain my battery, save a few seconds with him, but yeah, no, he was just too fast, so I had to settle with third. But yeah, overall, really good race.
For your information, Ian, who's finished P2 and will be on our interview, was replacement for Rivas on a Mercedes, who's actually a Division 1 driver. So on your first race, you went head to head with a Division 1 driver, so congratulations for that. Quite a performance you held out there. What's your trick for going from P19 all the way to P3? No contact with your other drivers, as we've seen a good drive throughout the race. And how would you comment on your overall race, on your first race with the Zoom Racing League with us?
Thank you for your kind words. And no, I'm feeling, really, really happy. Like I know, from comments, like this is a league where we respect a lot, so I was feeling really confident, dive bombing, because I know all the drivers were going to give me space, and so did I. I had also a close battle with Mr. Saturday, with Sigi as well, with I can't remember who else. But yeah, overall, like it's just about trusting the other driver, knowing that I could give you space, like I'm going to give you space, and overall, using like a lot of your ERS power on turn exit, so I can get a good slipstream and then open DRS in the zone. So yeah, overall really happy with all the drivers. They all compete relatively pretty clean, at least from what I saw. I'm guessing all the safety cars were because of the accidents, driver losing it, I guess. But yeah, overall pretty happy, and also we got a lot of points for Ferrari, so I guess that's good for the constructors as well.
Great race out there once again. Congratulations. Ethan, did you have a question for him as well?
No, I was going to tell him congratulations on your maiden podium URL and your first race here. I hope you have a lot more races here, as you seem to be a great driver on the track.
Most definitely.
Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Because I'll be seeing you around then.
Most definitely.
All right, you guys have a good night, and thank you for commentating on the race as well.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening to you too.
See you guys.
Alright, looks like Ian's, from his status, I don't think he's going to be out here for an interview. He was in a channel.
Yeah, he actually left Mercedes. They actually dipped and went to the hotel room instead.
Most definitely. They went they definitely went to celebrate. But just before they do that, we're gonna bring Ludwig here, Johannes, and here he is, our P1 race winner, as well as now the championship leader to the Division 3 championship with only 2 races to go. Johannes Ludwig, take us through your race. You're racing, you're chasing down Cryptid, he loses it into the wall, and you're now the leader of the race. How are you feeling at that moment?
I was feeling a little sad for Cryptid because I wanted a good fight in the lead for the viewers and for me, because the last race in Jeddah was not the it was a little boring. So the safety cars spiced this race up, but yeah, it was a very difficult race today. I haven't practiced the race a lot, so it was hard for me to have my true pace, I think so. I think my pace was best at them, so if I just had a little more practice, I could have made some more space between the first and second place. And
So-
what?
That's gone.
Yeah, the strategy that was, yeah, it was easy for me. It was a clearly two-stopper because the Hearts, they won't have the grip on Abu Dhabi, so it's definitely a soft medium soft or medium soft soft or soft medium.
Okay, so you have 3 race wins in a row right now. How does that feel leading up into the last 2 races of the championship?
Yeah, I'm ready for the 2 last races. The first part of this season in MotoGP was tough. I DNF'd in Mexico, and second place, I think so, in Austria, and then I was not racing in Coda and Canada. So it gives me confidence to the last 2 races that I got 3 in a row. That's a nice feeling right now.
Awesome, great racing, Ludwig, and we're going to be watching it for the last 2 races of the division. This is the championship that's going to be very interesting. You still have 2 races, a lot of things could happen there. So congrats again for your win,
Thank you.
and we will be seeing you very soon.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Good evening to you too.
Thank you.
So that was Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit, Division 3. As you've seen, a lot of action all throughout the race. The race is never over. It's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say. Tune out, coming on tomorrow. We're having a Division 2 race at 8 p.m. Eastern, and the Division 1 race will be at 10 p.m. Eastern as well. We're also going to have other broadcasters to go on the race. Myself and Ethan Patel will be racing in the Division 2 race as direct championship rivals. So this was just a prequel to a bunch of really wild driving we're going to be getting on over the next 2 races. Ethan, it was great doing commentary with you. First experience for me on the on this side of the chair, I should say, as a broadcaster. Thank you for accompanying me and making this a great time. But I will be seeing you on the track in Division 2.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch, and if you want to watch that, you gotta subscribe to the Zoom Racing League so you can get notifications on when we are going live tomorrow for 2 interesting races. Division 1 being the fastest of the fast. You have some absolute aliens in there, and then Division 2 with that close championship fight between the top 4. You can't miss it.
Absolutely, everybody tune in tomorrow. We're gonna have 2 great races. On that end, was your broadcast host John Ranger with my good buddy Ethan Patel. We're your hosts for this race tonight. Have yourselves a great evening, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow.